Pre-Conversation for the MarkHack 3.0 pre-conversation event. And joining us today, we have seasoned speakers. I'm not going to chew the cat out of the box, but I'm sure some of you have seen our creatives flying around and you have an idea of the specialist we have on call today. We're going to help us to digest our topic for today's pre-conversation event. Good morning, good afternoon, good noon from wherever you're joining us from around the world. My name is Antonia, and I'm the Programs and Learning Officer at Eco Innovation Center, joined by the amazing co-host, Mr. Oluwatosin Olukobi. So before getting started and giving the mic over to Mr. Oluwatosin, who's going to introduce our guest, I want you to reach out to your friends, your loved ones, your contacts, share the news that it's happening live at Eco Innovation Center. Yes, we're talking about the MarkHack 3.0 live a pre-conversation event. And our theme for this year's MarkHack 3.0 is Beyond Limits, unleashing creativity with emerging technology. And of course, our topic for today is AI and personalization in marketing. All right, so I'm going to give in the baton over to Mr. Oluwatosin, who is going to be introducing our speaker for us. All right, Mr. Tosin.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So it's so nice to be on this conversation with you, Antonia. I must confess that you have actually made this session so exciting, and I'm so sure that our audience across the globe are waiting to actually see what this session holds for them. So this evening, we are opportune to have two panelists on the session, and I'll be taking their bow, and I'm going to be starting from Nathan Landman. Nathan is a co-founder, of Triton AI. Triton AI is a digital studio that generates personalized images using artificial intelligence. But before then, Nathan graduated from MIT, where he studied computer science with a focus in machine learning. Nathan is an avid entrepreneur who is interested in advancing the welfare of humanity. He is currently advising other startups and lately delving into the Nigeria ecosystem. So the Nigeria ecosystem resonates with what Nathan stands to represent in the global space, and that is why he's here with us this evening. So you're welcome, Nathan. You want to say hi to your audience before I go to read the bow of Mr. Henry, who is here with us too this evening. Welcome, Nathan.
Yeah, thanks, Tosin. Happy to be here. I think there's a lot of stuff going on in the world of tech, and while I try to keep up, I know it's very hard. So we'll see how much of what I say now is relevant in the next few months. We'll try to keep it timeless.
All right. Thank you so much, Nathan. It's a very good one from you. So I'm just going to be taking Henry's bow right now. So Henry Okaume is a creative and goal-oriented sales and marketing enthusiast with over 10 years of experience driving digital marketing strategies and B2B sales for leading FMCGs in Nigeria. Throughout his career, he has built strong relationships with clients and delivered data-driven insights to maximize their business growth. From his expertise, it lies in developing and executing digital marketing campaigns across various platforms, including SEO, social media, and media buying. Beyond the digital marketing and sales, he excels at client management, networking, and identifying new business opportunities. He's passionate about building strong relationships and exceeding client expectations. In his current role, he leads a digital strategy for a portfolio of renowned brands under Golden Penny, including Semovita and Golden Penny Pasta. Beyond the boardroom, he fueled a genuine desire to make a difference in the communities he served, whether it's lending a helping hand to those in need of championing causes close to his heart. He so much believes in the power of collective action to drive positive change, which is one of the reasons why he's on this call with us this evening. Henry, you want to say hi to the audience so that I can give the floor to Antonia as we progress.
Okay, so Mr. Henry, we notice you're muted at the moment.
Apologies on that. So yeah, Tosin, you're correct. So I like to lend my hand whenever I can, basically, because there's so much to do in the world at the end of the day. Yeah, outside of just running a career and you know what, just making money outside of it. So it's good to just like empower people whichever way you can. Might not be financially, but whatever resource you have at your disposal, you try to get people on board. So that's it from me, basically. So yes, and hopefully during the conversation I'll probably share the little knowledge I do I do have. Yeah, like you said, when you're reading my bio, I didn't write anything like expert or anything. I like to just call myself as I like to call myself an enthusiast because we learn every day. Yeah, so yes, imagine technology right as of this moment now. If you probably search the internet, there's a new technology that's out there. Yeah, so it's a learning call for us every single hour that goes by.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Henry, for that. And before going further, I really want to give a special shout out to our amazing guest of today, the participants who are on call with us. Thank you for joining this conversation. And timely, I must add, yeah, you're the reason we're here today because it's a collective work. And so without further ado, I would go on with today's agenda. I'm going to be talking about why MarkHack. Why MarkHack? I'm sure some of us have seen MarkHack because this is like the third in its series. We had the MarkHack 1.0, we had the MarkHack 2.0 last year, and this year we're having the MarkHack 3.0, MarkHack 3.0. So the MarkHack initiative is all about the marketing and the media landscape. And we all know that the marketing and the media landscape is a dynamic and an ever-evolving realm characterized by the constant emergence of new technologies and strategies. So in our ever rapidly changing environment, business and organizations were confronted with imperative of not just keeping pace, but staying at the forefront of innovation. And for us to thrive in today, it's all about innovation, building on what has been there before and making it somewhat better. And that's why I'm so glad to be joined by our speakers today who give us we'll balance the way actually. So we have Mr. Nathan, who is an expert in AI, and then we also have Mr. Henry, who doesn't want to be called an expert, but he knows his onions when it comes to marketing and sales. So it's really, really a pleasure once more to be joined by our special guest for today. So without, I'm going to be throwing the floor over to Mr. Tosin, who is going to be helping us with the question section. And also to our participants that are on call, at whatever segment of the conversation, if you have a question that you want to ask our panelists, you can just kindly post it on the group chat, we'll see it, and then we'll attend to you. Or you can like maybe give us a reaction and we're here for you, we'll see you and we would attend to you. So over to Mr. Oluwatosin.
All right. Thank you so much, Antonia. So it's very great one for you introducing why MarkHack. And this is the 3.0. That is the third edition of MarkHack that we're having since the inception of MarkHack. So for today's topic, we're dealing with the topic AI and personalization in marketing. So for this, and our focus areas run through the evolution, AI marketing, overcoming challenges in implementation, ethical consideration in AI-driven personalization, impact on user experience, future trends, and innovation. So just like you have shared earlier, Antonia, the digital space, there is a continuous evolvement going on. There is a continuous change, and there is a need for everyone not to be left behind. There is a need for us to actually roll with time, to actually stay at the forefront of innovation as we move. And in the marketing space, it is widely acknowledged that creativity captures the audience attention, while personalization delivers the right message to the right audience at the right time, converting prospects into customers. However, achieving a harmonious integration of creativity and personalization at scale poses significant challenges for businesses. This challenge has sparked a growing interest in leveraging artificial intelligence and automation to transcend the limit of manual interaction and revolution personalized marketing. And that is why we are looking at this topic. And so I will just go into this session, the panel session, so that we can manage our time and we can take the questions from the audience or from those who have a question. For this session, permit me as I'll be taking the question to the door of Henry first. And Henry, I hope that you are ready to have my first question this evening. And I want to take it, I want to take ownership to share some of your experiences. And the case study, we love actually dealing with case study experiences and what people can actually resonate with. And Henry, so this is the first question. In your role as a senior key account manager, I know that you must have likely encountered challenges in implementing AI for personalized campaigns at scale. So could you share a specific instance where overcoming a challenge led to a significant improvement in the effectiveness of a personalized marketing campaign? So we just want to share how implementation through these challenges you have encountered have led to a significant improvement in the effectiveness of the personalized marketing campaign. Thank you, Henry.
Thank you, Tosin. Okay, yes, I'm unmuted here. So thank you, Tosin. So before I dive into that question, before I answer your question, probably I'd like to do like a background as to AI, because I like to always say a lot of times that we have two types of people when it comes to AI. You have the audience that believe AI is something that is out of this world, like it's Terminator. Yeah, I'm guessing most people have seen Terminator before. Yeah, yes, well, it's a possibility about that. Yeah, but AI is, I like to put it as it's just a simulation of intelligence by machines. So the idea basically is even as simple tools, stuff like facial recognition or maybe recommendations from a computer app, basically, that alone, it's what AI is. So to answer your question, you talked about how AI has, what challenges are faced in marketing and how AI has been like a tool, utilized tool. So I'll make reference to a recent event we had, Soup Festival. Yeah, I don't know if anybody attended it. So like I said, I handle like a couple of brands. So we had this event, Soup Festival, in October, and where the brand wanted to, so we had like close to like maybe 12,000 registrations on that day. Well, unfortunately, look, it was raining in all parts of Lagos, and the brand had invested a lot of money, like a ridiculous amount of money for that event to happen. We had tier A celebrities even attending the event. So obviously, for Nigerians, you know, some people, we believe in the whole idea of rainmaker. So at the venue, obviously it wasn't raining, but places like Egbeda, Ikeja, it was raining heavily. So the brand was skeptical that, oh, people are not going to attend. So we had to swing into action, obviously. Forte is digital. Digital is like the one of the quickest and to just get, when it comes to marketing deliverability, digital is like the fastest answer. So they turned to us. So what we did was we leveraged AI. So I'll come to how we leveraged AI. So we realized that, okay, the target audience, what are we looking at? We're looking at young audience, millennials, Gen Z. The location itself, it's on the island. Do you understand? So what we did was we had a targeted ad geolocation. So we made sure that we took images of the location itself. So we took images of the location itself, designed it, made it look very funky. Then we started running targeted ads. And before we knew it, the foot traffic that was coming was ridiculous. At the point that we're now getting scared of crowd control, because we had obviously made plans for crowd control, but the traffic that was coming was becoming ridiculous because it was on the island and a lot of people were seeing our messaging. We had crafted messaging targeted to that specific area. So that was leveraging AI. If, for example, like I said, AI is a tool. If we event before the AI generation, for example, where I have to do that manually. So I have to start looking for, okay, who are the people living in these areas and stuff like that. But that's what AI is like, literally a tool. So what it did was it helped us solve that problem immediately. So we didn't have to bother about the other guys living in. The only thing was I was getting texts from friends. That was the only problem I had. I was getting like, I'm in Ikeja, the rain is heavy. I can't attend this event and all of that. So that's how AI was able to help solve the problem. So I'll also give you another story of the success story of it too. I had a friend that attended the events too, and his wife was like, "Oh, where are you?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm at an event on the island. I'm in Kola Park." I was like, "I was like, oh, she saw the event. I didn't even know you're there." Before I could say anything, the wife had appeared. So the targeting actually worked because people within the location got to see that ad. So another instance was there was a time we were trying to run there was a TV series we were trying to run. So management changed. I can't obviously go into detail. Yeah. So management changed. The new marketing manager didn't like the name of the TV series. So what he did was, what we had to do was we have to run a sentiment analysis across board, getting sampling consumer opinions and all of that. And that was we leveraged AI to do that. And good enough, the sentiment analysis came back positive. So it meant people were very comfortable with the title of the show before we even went live with the show. So these are some of the obstacles we had, so some challenges we had faced as I faced in my own career path and how I was able to leverage AI to sort of solve this.
Oh, all right, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Henry. So I picked one or two from what you have said. And the truth is, while we are in the digital era and AI, the evolution is coming, AI wave, it is also important to understand that for us as humans, we cannot take out the place of strategic thinking and problem solving. So ability for us to strategically think on how to apply this AI and actually see how it can make our solution a very interesting one is one thing that will actually help us in this area. So thanks for answering that question. And so the next question goes to Nathan. And Nathan, I do hope that you are actually prepared for me evening, because I will actually want to also do justice to this question that I am about to ask. So very quickly, Nathan, given that you have a background in leading a digital AI studio focused on personalized image generation, can you share a specific milestone or breakthrough moment in the evolution of AI for creating personalized virtual content and how it has impacted marketing strategy? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question, Dustin. Yeah, so I'll play it off of what Henry was saying. So basically, I think the way that I like to think about the current phase of AI, having been in the industry for I don't even know, like 10 years or a bit more. I think this thing has been happening for a while now, right? So there's always not just AI, but also AI and data, right? So that's the way you can think about it. So when people started having phones and data started being collected at the beginning, people were sending SMS, right? But you don't know who you're sending the message to. You're just receiving a phone number. So you just send a blast message to everybody. The next phase was obviously the mobile phone, right? So with a mobile phone, everybody starts to have a GPS. So all of a sudden you have location data, right? So then messages can be a bit more targeted because you say, okay, these people live in Lagos, these people live in Ikeja, these people live in VI. I just want to send messages to people that live in VI, right? So then all of that was being sent out. Now, back in the day, we also used to have AI. So you wouldn't know, like, okay, this person, so you would think like, okay, this person, I think we stopped recording, but it's okay. You would think, okay, this person, they clicked like on photos of this specific candy, and they click like on photos of the specific TV show that caters to this age. Therefore, I can imagine that, this person is this age. And there was a lot of AI that was happening in the background in order to help you know who is the person that you're messaging, right? Who is the person that you're messaging? So that was sort of in the 2010s. This kind of targeted marketing started happening. There was a lot of AI that was happening back then as well, right? We were detecting who the people are, profiling, this kind of thing, improving the messaging a little bit. The greatest unlock of the past year, right, which is the past 2 years, basically, is the next phase of AI, which is what we call generative AI. So in generative AI, people can now generate messages and they can generate speech just like if they were a human, right? So basically, OpenAI comes out with GPTs. We can generate a bunch of messages, and then Stable Diffusion comes out, basically this technology that lets people generate images that look very real. So all of a sudden, not only do we know okay, you know, Tosin lives in Lagos and he is from 25 to 35. So he's my target demographic. We can also write a message that is very carefully curated to him and it sounds just like a human. Right. So, and not only that, like I can see Tosin's Instagram and I can be like, oh, okay, he likes nature or he likes the color blue. So I'm going to send him an advertisement that is color blue and has a lot of nature in it. So that's sort of the next wave of personalization that we're seeing, is that we can now generate text and images that resemble humans. So all the ads and all the targeting is going to be very specific to that person, not just based on location and your demographics and all that jazz that we used to have. Now it's going to be a lot more personalized in those two modalities, right? Eventually, I think in this coming year, we're also going to see videos being generated with AI, speech being generated, sound, all these things. And that's going to be very specific to you. Just like in the past 10 years, it's been you as a person who lives in Lagos and is 25 to 35, right? So that's the way I see it. And those are the kind of products that we're currently making in our company, is like products that are going to help people craft the right message, generate the right assets for the specific person. So it's going to be extremely individualized, so that the message resonates with you, right? So that's kind of the way I see it. And this is sort of why we are where we are, I think. You're muted. Oh, what's happening? Yeah, I don't know if you guys have... Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry?
So I think that even the evolving of digital is a continuous process. And just like you mentioned that there is a continuous growth. Now you can even personalize what you want. You can say, okay, Tosin looks like this. Tosin loves putting on blue. Tosin loves to be on a low cut. Can you give me an image that represents what Tosin is? So that's a very great one. It means everybody have to be on their toes. We have to stay up to date on what generative AI is all about and what it can actually do for business in the marketing and media space. So thank you so much, Nathan. And so I'll be going to the next question, and the question will be directed at Henry. And so, Henry, this is the next question. We all know, or let me say, creativity and personalization are crucial elements in marketing. How do you see the balance between these two aspects, especially when implementing AI-driven strategies? That is question one. What do you see? What do you see? What do you think is the balance between these two aspects, and how do you see the balance? And question two is, are there any practical examples from your experience where this balance was successfully achieved? Thank you so much, Eric.
Okay. Thank you, Tosin. Interesting question. So, like I think initially in your introduction, you said something around personalization and AI, the utilization of AI. So, with creativity allows brands to stand out in a crowded marketplace. Yeah, while personalization enables brands to deliver tailored experiences. So with creativity is more about the messaging itself, right? Obviously, you already understand your TA. You want to engage with that TA. While what AI does is it helps you answer how your message is delivered. So how you want it, like I made the example of the soup festival thing. I already had the TA I was looking at. What AI did was it helped me analyze the demography. I didn't have to stress myself. It just delivered the messages to people within a certain age range, within a certain location. So that's so with that, basically, AI is a tool. AI helps. So because of AI is doing exceptionally well in terms of, because AI has now been positioned in a way to think like a human, but you still need that human element. AI is not there to just eradicate the human process. It's still quite important, right? So what we tend to do is that what we do internally as brands, basically, especially with the advance of AI, is that it has made life easier for us. So typically, where I had to talk to my graphic designer to, hey, make this look like this and all of that, all I just have to do is type in a prompt. Yeah, it delivers the prompt. It might not get me exactly to where I'm going to, but what happens is that I've done 50% of that job. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I don't know, Tosin.
Yes. The audience are actually following you. Yes,
Okay.
they can.
I just wanted to be sure because I usually like to have like a sort of like exchange. So I'm quite clear. So sometimes Nigerian network, it can just go up at any point in time. Yeah. So I was saying, so that's literally, so there has to be a balance. AI needs the human prompts, the human inputs, while the humans need AI in terms of simplifying their lifestyle. So I'll give an example of that. Maybe go further into. So for example, like Netflix now, if you notice, I have like maybe 4 or 5 people on my Netflix account, but each time I probably go into their individual accounts, I see that there are tailored preferences based on our individual preference. So there's tailored content for each person based on their preference. And the idea is that AI has been able to tailor our preferences. But now we don't know all of that because you still need the human element to probably spell out the messaging. Okay, this movie is like this, like this. It contains this type of content. I'm an anime person, so if you come into my Netflix account, you get a lot of anime recommendations. You go into my younger sister's account, you see a lot of not anime per se, but younger animation. So that's where there's a bridge. The idea is AI helps me make my life easy, but that element of the human process cannot be eradicated totally. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Right. All right.
So I actually have personal brand, but I just, because these are some of the things that are still currently ongoing. For example, because I'll make you, I don't, so I rather not just get to the brand because these are campaigns that are currently ongoing. And obviously you don't want to, you have this confidentiality agreement with your brand. So, but I think Netflix is all Spotify. I just made use of brands that are obviously common and relatable to the consumers or to the participants of this talk. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Henry. So it's a very, very great one. It's so nice to hear from you. So while explaining the balance between creativity and personalization in relation to AI, what I would also pick is the fact that you mentioned that we need AI, and also AI needs us to actually perform to its maximum, to maximum. That is, and you even see that when people are dealing with AI, the person with the right command, like that's the right command, most times always have the best response from AI tools. That is your ability to be able to craft what you want, creatively craft what you want, ask your questions, and actually push to AI. So it's actually going to give you a result that actually that relates to what you have asked. So creativity is part of it, and we cannot take away the human part from all of this digital evolution that we are having. So thank you so much, Henry. And so I'll be asking Nathan the next question before I give the baton back to Antonia, who is also on this call with me. So Nathan, as someone actively involved in the Nigerian ecosystem, what unique challenges and opportunities do you see for the adoption of AI marketing in this region? And are there specific trends or applications that stands out in comparison to other markets? So this question is for you, Nathan. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think it's a very tricky question, especially for me. I'm not, I'm a recently newcomer to the ecosystem. So I think, I'm just trying to learn sort of the way things work here. But I guess from an outsider's perspective that's trying to get in, we can start with some of the challenges. I think the biggest one is obviously phone adoption, phone penetration, electricity not being reliable. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so electricity not being reliable and not everybody having smartphones and things like that. So those are, I think, the basic challenges. The other one that I'll say is, for example, I was going to the market a few days ago, one of the markets in the center in Ikeja. And when you see all the kind of opportunities and you like visualize, man, if only we could put AI to sort of give these people a little bit more prediction and analytics over the kind of things that they can sell. I think the problem goes one step further, and it's that you can't find good quality data. Right. So I think a lot of the challenges will deal with getting the right data and getting the right tools in front of people so that then you can start doing AI. So I think that's one of the biggest things that will be necessary for Nigeria to adopt good AI infrastructure, is that you need very good quality data and very good penetration. And obviously education is paramount, right? You need people to be aware that it's an AI bot that's speaking, and the AI has hallucinations where it makes up things that it doesn't know. If the crowd is not aware of it, maybe misinformation can spread, and it could create some chaos that shouldn't really happen, right? So I think those are big challenges, and I hope, there's a good number of startups that are tackling the data quality, and then hallucinations. I guess we can hope that there's more and more education around social media and around different areas, so that tell people like, look, AI can make mistakes, right? Now, on the opportunity side, I think there's a lot of automation that can happen. Obviously, there's a lot of pen and paper that you see everywhere. A lot of people are still very old school. So we first need to digitize a lot of processes. And I've chatted with a few people that are sort of trying to digitize this, and again, put the data out there. That's a big opportunity. If you can go to an old industry that is still dealing in like faxes and signed papers and things like that, and you can digitize all of that and then put an AI layer on top of that, I think you're golden. Now, from a marketing perspective, I think a lot of people here tend to use Instagram, right? You use Instagram, and they go on Instagram and they say, oh, I wonder if this restaurant is like open, and this restaurant, what do they have? What's their menu? Chatbots is a very classic example of catering to a wide array of consumers, and not having to have people respond on the phone, right? So yeah, I think those are some big ones. I think a lot of, for example, in supermarkets, right? I know that there's a lot of people that are walking around the supermarket trying to make sure that everything is stocked, all the aisles are stocked, everything is sort of functioning, but sometimes the humans can have some errors, so we can put some cameras in those supermarkets and we can automate some of those things, right? And then some of those sales can happen. The other ones are obviously, like fraud prevention and detection and this kind of thing, so that you can elevate the trust of the community. And then, yeah, the last one I'll say is this kind of very localized application where maybe you can turn an ad and put it in Yoruba, right? Or put it in Igbo, or put it in more dialects. I think those kinds of things that can really target a percent from, the kind of what resonates with them. There's a lot of opportunities for localizing this kind of technology. But yeah, I would say definitely focus on the data, and you're going to go far. If you can get good data in Nigeria, you're going to go far.
All right. So thank you so much, Nathan. And I'm trying to jot while you're saying something, just like I was saying while Larry was speaking. And so I picked two things from what you have said. You mentioned that some of the challenges faced cut around data and the right tools to use, which is a very big challenge that a lot of persons are facing, because even the AI that we are talking about is dependent on the data you feed in it, accuracy and all. And you also mentioned education, and the education part looks like is central to even all of the SDG goals now. People have to be informed. People have to get that engagement. People have to know what this is about. We have to keep blowing that whistle and trumpet to actually let people know what is happening. And while you were talking, you also mentioned that we could also harness localization. And this drew me back to some of the conversation I was having with people some time ago, while I mentioned that the problem might be the same, or we might have the same universal problem. But to solving this problem, there is a need for everybody to actually use the bottom to the top approach, that is localizing your solution. Because the causes of this problem, or how this problem is to be dealt with in a location B, might not be the same thing as the location A. And so that resonates with the conversation that people have to go localize, because if you are trying to engage in personalized marketing in the media space and all, what about if you are dealing with people in the rural community where they don't actually understand the English as a language? So you might need to explore some other language, and so that's so great. And so with this, I'm giving the baton back to Antonia, who is the lady with me, who is hosting this session with me. And Antonia will go ahead to ask the remaining question before we take the question from the audience, because I can see that the audience are actually looking at us, are actually excited about it. Thank you so much, Antonia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tosin and Nathan and Herring. Yeah, we have quite an engaging participant today. And like I agree 100% with you. And like Mr. Tosin said, I've been trying to jot down. It's been very insightful. And before going on, I also want to give a shout out to all those participating from our YouTube channel or live streaming on YouTube also. So and then just to also lay a bit of emphasis of what was being shared, listening to Nate speak, he was speaking about the importance of data and how true that is. And, Henry cited something earlier on in the conversation when he was saying AI is actually a tool. It's not an alien that came to invade Earth. It's a tool. And what's a tool? A tool enables you. A tool is an enabler. It helps you get your operations going. So you have to know your target audience. You have to have the right data to impute into AI to help you get your desired results. And Nathan just went on and was speaking about digitization, which Mr. Tosin also made emphasis on, and how it is important to localize this technology. And I think that's what MarkHack is trying to do. MarkHack 3.0, trying to educate the audience, trying to get people in our locality to actually get in the game, right? Get in the game, creating solutions that can solve our needs, right? Because when you're trying to tackle the market, the demographics are different. Our peculiarity in Africa is quite different from what we would have outside of Africa. So, and I'm so grateful to the creators of the MarkHack event. So, without dragging this discussion any further, I'm going to be asking our next set of questions. And this question, I'm going to address it to Mr. Henry. Mr. Henry, ethical considerations are increasingly important in AI-driven personalization. As a key account manager, how do you ensure that ethical considerations are prioritized in your personalized marketing campaigns? And what strategies or guidelines do you follow to navigate the fine line between personalization and user privacy? I'm going to be posting the questions on the chat box, so you can always reference that too.
Okay, so it's a very interesting question. But fortunately, I can collapse the two questions into one, because obviously the guidelines I tend to employ are things that makes me ensure that these considerations are prioritized in my personalized marketing campaigns. So yes, we've already talked so far so good. We've talked about how important AI is. And so for my field, let me speak for my field and not delve into, so it has simplified my life in terms of running social media ads, the case of chatbots, yeah, where we don't have to keep people on standby. We already have like looking for a word, predetermined questions that consumers might throw at us. So we already have fed that information with the chatbot. So, and the good thing about it is that chatbots now sound a little bit human. They sound very human. Sometimes you might not even be able to tell. And in terms of predictive analysis, in terms of the sales, so you can tell AI is an exception. It's a great tool. But then again, it has its fallbacks, which is why we have ethical considerations to put into ethical considerations to follow. So one of the things we do in terms of when we run campaigns, and especially when we're collecting consumer data, is that we have to make sure that the consumers are educated about what type of data they're giving to us. So we have to tell them that, okay, this is the amount of data. And we try to make sure that the data is not so personalized. Yes, we're very interested in the demography, just the little information we can get to help our targeting more personalized. But try to make sure you don't get too much, because if there's a leak, for example, obviously you have to make sure you protect the consumer data. But if there's a leak, for example, you can face some serious charges. So these are some of the things we have to make sure that consumer education is very, very important. They're letting them know that this is the amount of data. So if there's a breach, at least that eliminates you from if the consumer decides to do a backtrack of information leaks, you are, at least that's somewhat to a certain extent eliminates you from that conversation. Also, you have to get familiarized with the ethical review governance of that community you're in. For example, Nigeria has its own laws guiding the ethical breaches of consumer data, consumer protection data rights, and all of that. Finland has its own, England has its own. So you have to make sure you're familiarized with that data, so you're not breaking any law. That's one of the things. Transparency and consent, like I said, with consumer education, you have to be very transparent. Consumers have to know how much data they're giving out to you. So most times, if you're an Apple user, it's been a while I used Android, but if you're an Apple user and you're going on apps, for example, you get to see how much data the app is taking from you. Sometimes the app might be taking how many, might be tracking your location. So sometimes they'll tell you this app is tracking your location, try to turn it off, because if someone is able to hack into that app, for example, the person can actually track you without you knowing about it. So these are some of the data. The app is getting access to your photos, the app has access to this. So you're quite aware of this. These are some of the things that brands or agencies alike should consider when running campaigns, in terms of trying to make this campaign specialized a bit. Also, you have to give the user, you have to empower the user. So the user has the option to opt out. You can't just get the user on your platform and take as much data as you want. And the user is like, hey, I don't want, I think it's now interjecting into my personal life, or I'm comfortable with this type of data, I'm letting go. So the consumer has to have that right. It has to be empowered enough to say, you know what, I'm done with this. So that's why when we have, if you're running an email marketing campaign, for example, and there has to be an option of, okay, so unsubscribe from this email list, and the consumer has that power to do that. So these are some of the, there are many more, but these are some of the considerations I can just think from the top of my head. Some of the things you have to consider when running a personalized campaign that requires consumer data.
Thank you so much, Mr. Henry. You spoke so much about transparency and education, which is true. And then this would also lead me to my next question to Mr. Nathan. I'm trying to be as concise as possible because we have people dropping questions already on the chat box. So just to go to the next question, Mr. Nathan, drawing from your experience as an entrepreneur and advisor to startups, what advice would you give to emerging businesses looking to leverage AI for personalized marketing? Are there common pitfalls to avoid or key considerations for success in this dynamic landscape?
Yeah, so I guess before answering the question, I think Ope had a question. He was saying, data is one of the biggest things Nigerian market is lacking. How can AI help with this? Unfortunately, AI is a statistical model, right? And the way that AI was trained is using the data. So unfortunately, AI is not going to help you capture more data. It can help you ask questions so that then the people give the data. But at the end of the day, the data has to come from the people and from the environment. So maybe more sensors, more cameras, more questionnaires, more empowering of, giving people cell phones. That's the only way I can think of to get more data. And then obviously AI can access the data. But yeah, that's I guess the answer there. Yeah, so to answer your question, Antonia, yeah, I think the biggest thing with data, and we're driving it home because we've said it a few times already, but data AI is just a tool, right? AI is just a tool, and I think the biggest pitfall is that people think AI first, and they think, oh, how can I use AI? And then they look for problems. Whereas I think if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to start something, you should start from a problem, right? If you get really, really good at finding the problems, and then you're like, okay, can I use AI? Is AI the right tool? Or maybe is a camera, like what is the right tool to use it? Then you can start to solve the problem. I think a lot of people, approach it AI first, problem second, where it should be problem first, AI second. Now the other advice is start to collect your data as early as you can. As soon as you start your business, set up a database, set up a way to input the data. Knowing what data to get is also very, very clever, and when to ask for it. Because if you ask for data at the wrong time, people are going to be skeptical. They're going to be like, what's happening? Why are you asking me for this? If this is invasive. So you need to have a very good act of sort of your product journey and the way that people are interacting with your tools. yeah, so start gathering the data. And then the last thing I'll say is even beyond marketing, right? Like when you are doing something and it's very repetitive, you are, say, doing the same thing every morning. You go in and you spend 30 minutes doing some I don't know, some spreadsheet or something like that. Just take a weekend and try to automate it. Just Google it, find it on YouTube, ask ChatGPT. There will likely be a way to automate some of the grunt work that you have in your business. So those are, I think, some things people should pay attention to, especially now that technologies get better. They help you automate a lot of these processes. So yeah, think from a problem perspective first and then apply AI. And then the second one is once you do something very repetitively, spend a weekend, spend the evening just Googling things, watching YouTube videos, seeing how other people are doing it. Because that's the best way to learn. Even I learned by watching a lot of YouTube videos and then asking my friends that are in tech as well. So yeah, I think as the tools get better and better, your differentiating factor is, can you identify good problems that are worth solving, that people care for? Then you can start to select your favorite AI tool.
Thank you so much, Nathan, and how true that is, problem solving, because the reason you're going to get value as an entrepreneur, make profits as a businessman, is that you're providing value. And the only reason you're providing value is that you're solving my pain needs, right? And then you said data collection. And I think that's one of the challenges we have in the African markets. Yeah, so we need to learn to start getting data at the early stage. While you were talking, and just to correct you, it's actually pronounced Ope, Mr. Nathan. I noticed you called him Ope. But no, it's not a biggie. So I'm sure Ope got the answer to his question. And while you were speaking, we had someone drop a question in the chat. Mr. Ayomide said he has some solutions that resonate with what MarkHack it's all about. So, Mr. Ayomide, I would advise you to go to our MarkHack. You can go to the MarkHack site and register, and we would get in contact with you, and from there we would get the ball rolling. So everyone that's on call and has a solution, you've been listening to Nathan, you've been listening to Henry, you've been listening to Mr. Oluwatosin and myself, and yet you think you have a solution that can help the marketing and media space in Nigeria and in Africa, world over actually, you can just go to the MarkHack site and register. I'll be dropping the URL on our chat box, and then you can just reference that and register. So Mr. Tosin, I'm sure you've been learning a thing or two from the session. I'm going to be giving Mr. Henry to give us some more feedbacks. But Mr. Tosin, what are your thoughts at the moment?
All right, so much. Thank you, Antonia. So while I picked one or two from what Nathan and Henry has said, Henry has emphasized again today that AI is a tool. And so let me just make everybody smile this evening. So whenever I am discussing with Antonia, Nathan, I am always using him for AI. So Antonia is always, why are you always referring to AI as a person? And I'm always telling Antonia, the truth about it is AI cannot function without human being. All of those things you are seeing behind AI, it is the ideas of people. It is the data collected from people. And, so most times I personalize AI, I say, I want him to do this for me. And she's always wondering. So maybe this evening, Antonia, you can now understand that as even the world evolves digitally, every one of us needs to put more. We have to strategically think and actually make sure that the program we are designing around the marketing and media, if we want to integrate AI, it must answer the pain point of our audience, the people we are selling to, and the kind of solution we are solving must be able to resonate with the local world. And so that is it. And so I'll just give the floor to Henry to actually give a summary of the session, or if he has one or two to say, and so Nathan does them, then we can close the session. Thank you.
Mr. Henry, you're muted at the moment.
Apologies on that. Yeah, so it was an interesting session so far. Like I said, AI is an interesting tool. very interesting too, but it's getting to a point where, and I don't know, I forgot to mention because when we discussed about ethical considerations, I forgot to mention because because it was specified to me, there's a possibility with the way AI is going, if the ethical considerations in terms of this is for programmers per se, there's a possibility like what we saw in Terminator, iRobot, and all of that. There is a possibility. No, for real. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Because what AI is like, what my fellow panelist said, Nathan, it's a tool that you feed a lot of data, you keep feeding a lot of data. Then you have to break AI into machine learning and deep learning. Deep learning requires a lot of effort that it positions the AI machine tool as a brain, as a human brain. So it can even think based on the data you've actually fed it, it can actually think and perform actions on its own, just like the Tesla self-driving cars. So you can imagine how much data that's been impacted, and it can actually just I'm sure like some 20 years ago, you would never imagine that a car can actually drive itself. We saw those in all those futuristic movies. Yeah. And it's like that. So obviously they're ethical country. And it's not from me. Even a lot of people do not consider Elon Musk as a serious person, but he has actually had conversations around this. So ethical considerations it goes beyond even the marketing side of things. It actually goes into the AI engineers who are working on all of these things. We as humans, I know the idea of wanting to just go beyond and create a lot of things, but also we have to also consider a lot of things as well. So I think that should be my closeout. So enjoy AI, try to solve a problem like Nathan has said, think of a problem. Even I make use of AI. There are different varieties of AI you can use. You have AIs to serve your purpose as a student, looking to get answers. As a writer, there are AI specified. But in fact, there's an AI that can write an entire book for you from scratch. From just all you just have to do is think about a topic, but then again, you have to also think about a topic that it can write for you. Then from to the design to the publishing, it does everything for you. It arranges the entire book to the number of pages you want. So AI, so the generation we are right now is it's impeccable what AI can do for us. So I think it's not left for us to create look at these problems that need actual solutions and utilize AI to just get them solved. So I think that's my closeout there, remark. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, and I
All
guess
right,
I
all right.
I
Nathan, you
can
want
follow
to
up on Henry. Yeah, I can follow up on Henry. So two thoughts I think come out as Henry was speaking. The first one is I think AI is really good at getting the best from the past, looking at the data and being like, oh, okay, this is what an image looks like. This is what this looks like. You can go to Midjourney and type, beautiful poster, Legos at the beach, whatever, and it looks really nice. I think the bar is raised for a lot of different attention grabbing mechanisms, right? So the bar is a lot higher now. So I think people need to, like, if you don't spend the weekend learning about how to use AI and how to get to that level, already table stakes, the amount of stuff that's going to be out there that is good is going to be drowned out. So the bar is raised. So you need to get good at using those tools and learn on the weekends, learn at night, because people that are using it are going to get nicer outputs, right? That's the first thing. And the second thing I'll say is, that is transforming the marketing landscape, I think. I'm not an expert, but my partner, I think, is a marketing expert. And we can now start to see that the old channels are not working as much, right? And this is, I think, goes hand in hand with AI, where like you put up some Google ads, you put up some Facebook ads, but there's a million of those, and all of them look really, really good. So then you need to get creative, right? So then you need to get a lot of influencers to post stuff, right? And this authentic, because that's what people want nowadays. So you need to keep up with the trends. And I think if you just let AI do the thing, it's going to do what worked well last year, but it may not do what worked well this year, because by nature, AI is trained to do what was happening in the past, and it's not going to be up to date on what's happening right now. So yeah, there's a lot of human in the loop, and the part where the human plays a big role is in trying new things, developing taste, experimenting, because AI is just going to do what was good in the past. So yeah, always you have to be on your toes, raise your game, use the tool so that your output is really pretty. Like right now, there is no excuse for putting an ad that has a misspelling. There's no excuse. Like, it's just like sloppy. Because you could just put it on GPT and GPT will like fix all your grammatical mistakes, right? So that's what I mean when I say the bar is raised. Yeah, and then humans are gonna lead because humans, we are a bit more unpredictable, and AI is really good at predicting stuff that's seen in the past. So yeah, be ambitious, raise the bar, put really cool stuff out there, and you'll grab attention, I think. Yeah, so I think that's my closing closing thoughts.
All right, Nathan, thanks for that summary, and that will help us close this session with what I want to say. So just like you have said that the bar has been raised already, and there was this wave of ChatGPT, the country Nigeria, and at times when you want to submit some work, maybe some research work, some stuff, people shouting, you don't have to use AI to write things, you don't have to use AI to write things. Make sure you are working. This is ChatGPT work. This is something. But now we are in the era where even supervisors are now saying, if you can't come out with this thing in the right manner, just construct it and give it to AI to help you do. So people are now understanding that AI is a tool, and everybody must be at the top of their game to make sure that they are using this tool in the right way. And just like you mentioned, education is one important thing that everybody has to get acquainted to, so that people can be informed on the importance of these tools and the usage of it, because if there is no need for it, we shouldn't have been having it in the first place. And so that will bring us to the close of this session. I want to say a very big thank you to you, Nathan, and I want to say a very big thank you to Henry. Thank you for joining this session. And to every of our audience across the globe, we are so thankful for joining us this evening, and I hope that some of your questions have been answered, and you found this session quite engaging. And we want you to be looking forward to the next session, which will be happening next week, and it will be communicated across all our platforms. And so I want to say thank you to my co-host, Antonia. Antonia has actually been a co-host in all of my sessions, all of the sessions I've had. About 80% of the sessions, Antonia has always been there trying to do all with us. And so our leader, everybody putting their heads together to make sure that MarkHack is actually going well. Thanks to our business manager for the Co-Innovation Center, the person of Balakito, and also to our partner from GDM, everybody putting all of this together. Thank you so much, everyone. So we bring this session to a close. Thank you. You can actually register using the link.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tosin. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Nathan. Thank you, Mr. Henry. Bye.
Cheers.